And here's a song, This Side of Heaven, by our special guest today. Yeah. Good morning and welcome to another edition of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. I'm Tiffany Carlen with Sarah Reeves Arden, aka Red. I actually no, you know what? I actually like that the beginning of that. I love the beginning of this side of heaven.
That is the real deal.
Yeah.
That's like when I was in the hospital room bawling and crying about all of it.
I can't even imagine. That's the voice of KK Bodiford. We're trying to get to all things here where I'm like stuck in a screen here.
Is it rude to correct? Like if it's because it's really Bodiford? Or
Is it
I
Bodiford?
can be Bodiford today if you
No,
want. Like my husband and her brother, they are the Bodie brothers. They call each other the Bodie brothers. So I could be Bodiford if you want me to be.
Right. Okay, so if you're hearing screaming in the background, it's because we have this lovely child in studio this morning who you are going to learn about.
Yep, and her name is KK Bodiford.
And
that was a joke. You know, like you know that thing that
was
like
good.
The haha moment.
Do you see how slow I am this morning?
But you are fast coming in here.
Yep, coming in hot.
But we're talking with KK today because she's written a book and it is about 40 days and 40 nights, all about this child here and struggles, and then you finding faith. And so, so we're going to dive in. So the interesting thing is that you were reintroduced to me by Greg Cooper, who was like, hey, you need to have KK on. She's written this book. He sent me all this stuff. And I was like, I'm going through that. I'm looking at your picture and going, I know her. And I'm trying to think. I was first going back to like just music.
Right.
Because you came out of the country scene. I was in the country scene, still am, sort of. So were you.
I creeped on you, and I really like your music, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I love yours too. So that's where it was the Highway Sisters. And I was like, I think I met her back when they were in the Highway Sisters, which is very possible anyway. But then I went looking closer and I went, wait a minute. It didn't even when you messaged me privately after Greg introduced us, I'm like, that didn't come with the request. I'm like, wait a minute, we're friends on Facebook. So I go and I look, and then I looked at our friendship. You know how you can pull up a friendship with someone?
Yeah.
And here's what comes up. It's the cover. It was a cover photo I think I had put up on my page, and it was after you and I were judges.
For the
what was it 3 or 4 years ago for Miss Burleson pageant. I was like, and we are next to each other, arms, hand behind each other's backs. And I'm like, duh. Oh my gosh. And so I messaged you right away. And I'm like, hello, we already know each other. Like this is,
No,
so anyway.
We are Facebook friends. That's what concerns me. I'm like, how many people do I not know, whatever. Right. But I'm like, okay, you look familiar as well. And then I started thinking back to Highway Sisters, and I really do think we met each other.
I think we did.
We were interviewed by JoCo, like at the old location a long time ago. I think it was next to
that was probably Pam. Place. I don't know if it was me. No, yeah, you were. It was upstairs it was above Babes.
Yes, Amelia Presley was doing the worm. If you remember someone doing the worm, and I was kind of.
I did see that.
Okay, yes, that
was Pam. Pam was still alive, and it was. I think you were being interviewed by her, but. I think that there was another time where we may have been on together or we met during a songwriter type of event way back then. It was a while ago. But here we are, full circle coming back to this. And I got so excited. I was like, Greg, I know her. I'm like, I already know her. Like, this is crazy. And your purpose for being here. So, I mean, I want to kind of just take it backwards because you were on Nashville Star.
Right.
Can you remember what year it was?
2000. It was the first season, 2003.
2003. Yep. Yeah. And then you went on to the Highway Sisters.
Yeah, I had a big break. I mean, you think 2003, there wasn't even like really social media wasn't a thing back then. Thank goodness, because I don't want any videos prior to my adult life ever circulating ever. Listen, I teach kids music at a Christian school at Watershed, and I want them to know the truth, and there's a testimony in it, and I will be open and honest, but I definitely am very thankful there was not social media back then.
For sure. Yeah.
Anthony,
he's
like,
He's like, yeah, same, no problem.
For sure.
But so fast forward, you get married. You have kids. This is number 4.
This is number 3.
This is
but
number 3, and then there's
4 with my husband's. I have a bonus daughter, Avery.
Okay. All right.
So
Awesome.
4. Yes, we have
Okay.
4 children in 4 different decades as far as like their year of birth. 4 decades.
Wow.
My husband, he's a young
God
chicken.
bless you.
He's also a roofer. I'm sorry, this is awkward. He's sitting next to me right now, and he's wearing
fine.
his Lone Star Roofing.
Gotta
So,
represent.
hashtag plug Burley Roofing. My husband, Chris Bodiford, 817-819-5888. Why were you laughing louder while I was trying to say the number? That's not funny. 817-819-5888. BurleyRoofing.com.
I like it. What you gotta
Hey,
do.
it's all about community.
Hey,
That's
this
right.
is
And we support one
You're
another in
correct.
roofing and in all the things.
well. Sometimes you gotta look. It's called collaboration,
Right.
right? I mean,
All right, stop.
There's
Collaborate and listen.
yeah. There's
KK's
enough
back with the
there's
brand.
enough roofs in this state alone
Correct.
that every
Yeah.
roofer, and I mean every roofer, because there's a lot. There's enough business to go around if you're going
Yes.
out and getting it. So
It's
you know,
so true. It's not really even at least for us, it's not a competition. I've heard nothing but great things about Lone Star. It's kind of like one of those things where it's either, is jicky a word?
yeah,
It's either jicky or it's not.
it's
And I
jiggy.
know y'all are
I don't
not.
know what that
And I know we're
means.
not.
Jiggy.
Is that the right?
Getting
Not
jiggy
like-
Jiggy
with
with it?
it?
I was gonna
Not
say
like
jiggy with it?
Jicky. Isn't that a word? I'm gonna
Janky?
have
I
to
don't
Google
know.
that.
I'm
We
gonna
need to
go with
ask
janky.
my child.
Shady?
Janky.
Shady.
Maybe
Yeah.
for janky.
No,
Janky.
like I don't know.
Good or bad? You're trying to say that?
Bad. Like
Yeah, janky.
like shady.
Janky.
Is janky.
Yeah.
Janky's the word.
I don't know.
Maybe there's
Janky's no
another
good.
one, but
We're gonna
that's
have to-
what we're
I feel like-
gonna say. It means janky.
Hang on. Let me put this out to Greg Cooper really quick. Greg Cooper, could you please look that up for us? Because I know you're watching and listening.
He's already looked it up. He's
Yeah.
probably texted me whatever that is.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, just put it in the comments, okay? Put it in the comments. Sus. Yeah, sus is the word. Sussy. That's what I would say,
And
because that's what
Jamie
my
says
kid would
sus.
say. And then every time I say it, my 13-year-old looks at me like, no. No, you
Don't
can't.
be
I'm sorry.
suspicious.
You
Don't
can't
be
use those
suspicious.
words. You're not in my generation. Okay. So kind of like Riz.
Riz.
Yeah.
Or your outfit is so eating.
So I put Riz, that Jesus put the Riz and risen in a family group text, and my daughter goes, "How do you know what that means?" I'm like, "Because I'm not stupid." I mean, I was until I knew what it meant just a couple weeks ago.
I'm a radio station personality. I'm hip.
I'm trying.
My daughter would say that's fire. Actually, she's
Fire?
probably mad
Okay.
at me if she's listening because that's just embarrassing when I say it.
Oh, I think you say it really well, and you should say it more often.
That's so fire.
Right?
Oh, look, hot.
Yeah.
This
I
is
put the
hot.
hot and psychotic.
Yes. Okay, that's funny.
I didn't buy it.
I feel like
I didn't buy the sticker.
Oh
somebody
my
bought
god,
it
this
for
is
me.
like what it happens in my head without meds. Exactly.
For a
I
minute-
second that.
For a minute there, I thought you said this is what happens to me without my meth.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, that-
And I was like, Sarah, you're a little
No, not
forthcoming with
all the-
information
it's
today.
not meth. It's just
All
the amphetamine.
All right. Let's just remember that
It's from the doctor.
it's very possible that we have a classroom full of Christian students listening to this show right now. It's
I only
possible. I'm
take
just saying.
one prescription medication, and that's it. So,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
say
So
no to drugs.
I want to go backwards. So let's go backwards. So your beautiful son was born. Well, no, let me ask you this. As far as the diagnosis goes, you knew did you know any of this while you were pregnant?
Okay, so what I knew when it was whatever the scan was, I think it was the 18-week scan, and it was where they measure everything, and something was off. Like there's a ventricle size was too big, is what they were. They went to the specialist, everything. We knew that something was off. It wasn't anything that looked crazy severe, but they were thinking it was hydrocephalus, which is fluid in the ventricles and in your brain. So I went to Dallas. I found a neurosurgeon. I was ready. I was like, okay, if that's what it is, then we'll be ready to have a shunt placed. And I was worried, but thinking, you know what? God's got this. It's okay. And honestly, that would have been the least of our worries if in comparison to his diagnosis on paper, right? So like hydrocephalus, it's not that it's nothing. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, I know that's a very serious condition, but I'm going to
tell you that
to it.
The majority of us don't
lot of
even know
times.
what it is. I mean, really, unless you've had a child or a loved one diagnosed with these things, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And you start Googling, which is not, I do not recommend. I always tell
Right.
people do not Google because it really does not help at all. It just makes you super worried. But so he was born C-section, and a little bit early. It was planned, but they think he was even earlier than what we had expected because he was a surprise, and we were just kind of guessing, right? And so when he was diagnosed, or when he came out, he could not breathe on his own very well. He could, but not very well. And so they did the CPAP, and you kind of hear that in the beginning of that song. And so that's the actual footage. Like Chris, my husband, is videoing 817-819-5888 Burley Review. No, but really, my husband, he's
Hey,
videoing.
take your moment. I'm here on Thursday Live.
Really, let me back up for just a minute.
Yeah.
If you were tuned in from the top of the hour, typically when we go live at 4 minutes, you actually heard 2 songs instead, and those are both of KK songs. And in the beginning of On This Side of Heaven, you actually are hearing this footage.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I have goosebumps again right now, but it gave me goosebumps because I have a preemie, not to the extent of the challenges that you had, but she was 2 months early. And I almost wish I had those moments, recorded, but I remember every sound that was going on. So I think it's a gift to be able to share that with people so they understand these are terrifying moments when,
Right.
I mean, it's terrifying to have a child,
Right.
but it's even more terrifying. Like, okay, this is it now. We're in save the child's life mode.
Right.
And so all these diagnoses came about, and ultimately where we're going to get with KK is to talk about this book that is releasing on the 14th,
Right.
correct?
Yep.
Okay, Greg was like, I think it's the 14th. I think it is anyway. So we're going to share all kinds of information about that. So let's go back to the diagnosis. You're in gestation, and something's going on.
Something's going on. Measurements are off, but the specialist that I saw, I was a fetal specialist. She did all the measurements, and I would see her every week or every 2 weeks. She did a bunch of tests. They did like some blood work and different things that they did of all the tests to try to figure out what specifically is going on. Maybe we can figure out if it's a syndrome or whatnot. They couldn't figure it out, but what she told me was that if, it could be very, very, very severe. His quality of life could be very, very poor. Could affect your children's life. So if you want to terminate, we need to decide soon. Because legally. And I'm like,
you could.
I'm like, what? Like
No.
I'm thinking like, so
Right.
we're monitoring my baby that's kicking, and I'm
Right.
great. I'm like about to cry, but it's like just that's even an option because it's inconvenient. Like, I don't even understand. I am so pro-life. I now understand because I've lived that life of, yeah, it may be hard, but you know what? If you can't do it, do not abort your baby. Call me and I'll take him or her. Like, you know what I mean? There's people that have a heart for kids with special needs, and there are options. There's but to me, that's not an option.
So let's plug, what's formerly the Pregnancy Aid Center and is now
Next Step
Women's Center.
Yes.
They have a 99. People think that most people don't really understand what they do, but basically they educate women on their options. And so they have because they educate, and it begins with education, they have a 99% retention rate. So these are people who were on the verge of deciding maybe I should abort this child, and through education of options and resources and everything else, they have a 99% retention rate. So if you're looking for a place to donate, Next Step Women's Center here in Burleson is a great place to do that. So
And they're like
highly
right
recommend it.
there.
Yeah, right
Whoa.
there. Yeah, and pathways.
I'm hitting the cameras.
So anyway, so I just wanted to say that because this is where you can find resources.
Right.
If you're scared, if you're not understanding, go to them. You should go to them. Let them know that you're a resource, because you're definitely a giant resource.
Man, they should have your book.
And this book would be a great thing on their bookshelf. Absolutely. So, all right. So moving right along, because there is when I go to your blog, and I'm starting to, the diagnoses it's long and I can't pronounce.
Hey, you ready? Because I've got this.
All right, do it.
Okay, so they did an MRI, And the doctor came back, the NICU doctor, and he said, it's really, really bad. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. It's very severe. I'm like, okay, you don't have to be sorry. He's like, no, really, I'm sorry. Okay, what is it? And he said, well, before he said even what the actual diagnosis was, he wanted to tell me what his prognosis was. And that was, he's not going to be able to sit up or eat on his own. He's not going to be able to speak. He's not going to be able to walk. What else? He's not going to be able to see all the things, like whatever it is.
And he was walking all over this station.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's a cool walker. Who doesn't want a cool walker? I'd like to rest on a walker.
No doubt about it. And he's got cool sneaks on too.
He really does. And the sneaks squeak.
Oh, I love it.
But
I love it.
It wasn't about the clinical diagnoses, which I can handle. And I think we all need to be open and honest with, like, okay, this is scientifically, this is the diagnosis. Okay. I don't want to pretend like it's not there. What can we do now? Right. God gets to decide what he's going to do and not do. And that decision is right. So it's not even, it's going to happen. So, I looked at that doctor and I said, my God is bigger. And he said, I hope you prove me wrong. And I said, oh, we will.
The doctor said, I hope you prove me wrong.
And it was like, was like this, but it was like this. It was like, well, hope you prove me wrong, as he's walking off, kind of thing. Like she doesn't even have a clue. Like, it's not gonna,
Well, I mean, I think it's because I experienced this when my mom was passing, and there are things they follow. This is what they're taught in medical school. This is what they know, and we'll talk about that more when we come back from the break.
Oh, okay.
So hang tight. We're going to take
soon.
a quick commercial break. This will be our last commercial break because next week we're not doing them anymore. We're just doing live ones. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Attention all business owners and creative minds. Do you need a unique and personalized touch for your products? Look no further than Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs. We offer custom laser engraving services for a variety of products, including promotional items and corporate or personal gifts. With state-of-the-art equipment and a team of skilled designers, we can engrave intricate designs on virtually any material. Whether it's a special message, a company logo, or a custom design, Romika Laser Engraving will help you make your mark. And the best part, our prices are affordable and our turnaround time is quick.
I couldn't be happier with the work Romika Laser Engraving did for me. The engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
Squeezables. I remember
JoCo
those.
Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Would you like it? I was just saying, would you like an apple?
JoCo Community Radio is a member of EMG, a radio and podcast collective, proudly serving communities like Johnson and Tarrant County, Texas. We are live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network and our station app. Check out our lineup and more at tuneinjoco.com. We thank our valued partners in helping us amplify the voices of our communities. You heard the commercials. Be sure to connect to Todd Hurd and Associates, attorneys at law. Use code JoCo 2024 for 25% off your first order at thetiffy.com. And join Swipe Nation today and save on your credit card processing at swipenationusa.com. Locally owned and operated. Reach out to Tiffany at jo.co@jococommunityradio.com for your advertising rates as low as $50 a month.
Oh my gosh, you need to be a car saleswoman, I think.
Really good.
Right? Well, welcome back to the second half of JoCo Vibes. I'm Tiffany Carlen with Sarah Reeves and Anthony It's Salazar, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
One
So
of
I was
my
like, wait,
many names.
do I have the right person at this table? And the amazing KK Bodiford.
You got it.
Yay.
Like you never know, so I just kind of go with I don't know. whatever.
Bodiford would
Like,
make sense.
it would, but
Yeah.
Bodiford works too. So
Yeah.
like, anyway. So KK is here and she is joining us to tell us all about her book that is launching next week on April 14th called You Are Not God. It's 40 days and 40 nights that drove God that proved, sorry. I'm reading through the not for resale part.
Yeah, she has the proof because it's not out till Sunday, but it's 40 days and 40 nights that prove God is bigger than any diagnosis.
And this is huge because this is your baby boy
Yep.
on the cover. And man, this was seriously, I mean, you guys went through serious challenge. Okay, can you say all these words? I bet you can.
I sure can.
See, I can't read all of these
I would
because you know them inside and out.
Oh
and
yeah.
I'd have to go, okay, nephrosophilitis.
Yeah.
I'm not
Just
close,
don't
but-
ask me, please.
Oh, by the way, poor Anthony didn't realize he was going to be at the table with 3 women and
I mean, it's the story of my
didn't
life.
realize he wasn't going to get a word in edgewise.
We just call him
today.
Charlie. We just call him Charlie because we're his angels.
Okay, that's cute.
Nice.
Can we please get the picture before I leave?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
But
Perfect.
real quick, how could I not want to be a part of this? This is an awesome story.
This
Well, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it is a pretty amazing story.
it is. All right. Read the. Is this the foreword?
Or
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I'll just read the back because it has all the things. So,
Because you know them, the diagnoses, and you can say them, and I won't look like an idiot. So.
right. But Anthony has to spell them and write them out as I'm saying them.
That I can do.
Okay, good. Good.
I've got my own language.
Spelling test.
There's a spelling test
Yep.
involved in this.
Exactly.
Let's
Okay.
see who gets the closest.
All right. So, You Are Not God, 40 Days and 40 Nights that prove God is bigger than any diagnosis, is the true story of a mother's hope and how the power of faith can make the impossible possible. In the NICU, her son Gibson was taken back for an emergency MRI. The findings concluded multiple brain abnormalities, optic nerve hypoplasia, ONH, septo-optic dysplasia, SOD, agenesis of the corpus callosum, cerebral palsy, hypothyroidism, ectopic neurohypophysis, midline fusion of the hypothalamus, neonatal subclinical seizure disorder, and gray matter heterotopia. The neonatal specialist expresses condolences, giving a hopeless prognosis of Gibson's future, bleak with little to no quality of life. Gibson spent a total of 40 days and 40 nights fighting for his life while his mother fought in faith. Despite any medical opinion or report, or no matter what trial you may be facing, never lose faith in the one who is always faithful. Only God gets the final say.
That
That pretty much sums it up.
Thanks for joining us on this spelling. No, I mean seriously.
And is that why the song is called Dance Right Through the Storm?
That's a different one. That's actually
Oh.
from my friend. Her daughter was diagnosed with a brain. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I have like mom brain, but her daughter had a big, really hard fight and she lost her fight to that at the end, but it'll come to me like right after we get off the air.
But I'm like, man, 40
course it will.
days, 40 days, 40 nights. Like that's the flood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, right?
I mean,
Oh yeah.
That's
completely.
the endurance.
Yes.
You're on the
when
ark.
I read
Man,
that, that was part
that's
of
intense.
that was part of what gave me the goosebumps. I was like, oh man, this just how it all
Yeah.
coincides together and makes such the perfect, I don't want to say story, but example, the testimony for others that you really don't know. I mean, and this comes down to, okay, there's negative thoughts versus positive thoughts. It's the law of attraction, which all comes from the Bible. And either you stand in faith in a moment like that, or you go the negative route and say, okay,
My thoughts are not.
I'll
his
just go
thoughts.
accepting with what the doctor says and not think that there's possibility in this for my child to have a life,
Right.
a normal life, whatever that normal life is meant to be. And no doctor can say that either, because what I was saying before we went to break is I experienced this when my mom was dying. And she did die, but it
I'm
was
sorry.
it was an end of life moment, right? It wasn't beginning of life moment. It was
Right.
beginning of her new life. But the doctor had come to me at one point and he said, "Look, your mom's dying." I was like, "Okay, well, what is she dying of?" "Well, she's just old." And I was like, "Excuse me? My mother's 67 years old. That's not old." And by the way, she's sitting right here and she can hear everything you say. She couldn't really respond at the time. And so he was a palliative doctor. He was terrible at his job. But that was my question. But what is she dying from? Like,
Right.
what, tell me. And this is where, when you start to talk to other people, you realize, okay, they're in their lane. And unless they are truly full and confident in their faith and their spirit life, they won't talk about that part of it.
Right.
And you'll realize that too, right? Amongst other doctors who will talk about the faith and the praying, and then there's some that don't. And so here you are, and you're in this crossroads. And of course you're like, I'm going to do what I got to do to keep my kid alive, right? That's what you do. And you go through this 40 days and 40 nights. Have you seen that doctor since?
So this is
or talked to
interesting.
him?
I actually
Is
brought
it him or her?
a him.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not going to say names because
Right.
I'm always scared I'm going to, and then I'll be in trouble because I'm not out to get anyone, and I'm not bitter. It was the fire that lit
Right.
lit my
Sure.
faith, my true relationship with Christ. I mean, that was the moment. And so I did bring Gibson back to the original, the fetal doctor, the fetal specialist. And it was in a place, and I would wanted to many times because I would go there for other appointments and things, and I'd want to, but I was like, no, because I'm not in that. I want to be like, haha, like,
Right.
look. And then the Lord just told me one day, okay, you're ready. And so I brought him in there just with the right intentions and with the right heart to spread that hope, so that maybe that conversation will look a little bit differently,
Right.
the next time that she, crosses this. And so, so anyways, I brought him in, and I think he was probably 18, 19 months or so. And I said, I don't know if you remember me. She's like, yes, of course I remember you, and I said, well, this is Gibson. And she goes, oh my goodness, what was he diagnosed with? And I told her all the
list,
things.
right?
And she goes, wow, that's amazing. And I just said, to give other moms hope that when it's very serious or you really don't know, but God does. And it's already been, the plan's already been laid. Like your path is
JoCo
paved.
live radio caller.
Oh, I think I know who this might be. Can you go ahead and
Is that
answer
Mr.
that?
Cooper?
JoCo live radio caller.
Could be. Welcome. You're on the air, JoCo Community
good
Radio.
morning.
Good morning. This must be Greg Cooper.
Well, good morning, Miss KK. How are
Good
you?
morning, Mr. Cooper.
We have some people to say good morning to you today. Is that okay?
Oh, wait, why do I want to cry? That just makes me want to cry.
She's
Guy.
over there.
Good morning, Miss KK. Love you,
There it goes.
Yeah.
It wasn't even Gibson that made me cry. I love y'all. Good morning. I love you guys so much.
So KK is the music teacher at Watershed Christian School in Godly.
Yep.
And you're also the worship leader at a church in Godly as well. And but these are some of your students who were very proud of you for being on the radio, and they wanted to jump in and say good morning.
Oh my gosh, I love them so much. We really have the most amazing community. The school, Sissy Hardcastle, all of our friends, the teachers, everyone. It's like I've never experienced this before, and the Lord is just doing incredible things.
Well, just with what Greg's told me about Watershed and the fact that he shows up as a parent volunteer every single day.
Every day. He never
is
misses.
Truly a gift. It's a gift to be able to do that as a parent, and for a school to allow that to happen. I mean, that's where you see community coming together to really raise your kids. Right. So the thanks, I think, is also to Greg for what he does, along with the other parents who volunteer or volunteer their time. He's chilling now.
I know. Gibson's
Yeah.
just laying down there. Hey.
He's like
Here,
looking up
why-
at mom. What's up?
Why don't you do this job and I'll do that laying down thing?
Right.
Cool. Okay, cool.
He's like, all right, I'm on it. Let's trade. He's
He's
down.
totally sleeping. Gonna fall asleep.
I think he might fall asleep,
I
and
think so.
I want to lay down, take a nap next to you.
I'm pretty
Seriously
jealous of his
sweet.
hair, just so you know.
Right?
Oh my
I
God,
wish my
right?
hair could do that. Oh man,
He's
Well,
actually getting a
Greg,
haircut.
potential
today.
I have.
Well, I mean, when you look at your Bitmoji on Snapchat, I'm like, yeah, you wish you had that hair because
Oh, man,
his
it could curl
Bitmoji.
like
You
this.
have great hair. I don't know what you're
but
talking
I've grown
about.
my hair out and it just goes straight. I want the
Greg,
the
are you still with
curves
us?
and stuff.
No, he hung up.
He did. Okay. All right. So how awesome.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah. So you have all these things that come together, and Gibson was a huge driving force for a lot of that, from what I've read. Right. I mean, his story, his triumph, your faith, and where this placed you. I mean, that kind of led you to worship leading. That also led you to become a music teacher, right? Because you walked away from a giant opportunity in the music industry. Your big break was happening, and I mean, you have a child with special needs, so it's, I don't want to say sacrifice because it's your child. So I know
Right.
what that means. It's not. We're not sacrificing something for our kids. We're being a parent, but still, it's a challenge. So I love that you found a way to keep music in your life, and then to be able to share it and teach it to children because you are so talented.
No, it's me. It's still on.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just-
You're over there. Okay,
I'm
you're
gonna-
pulling it. Are you
I'm
pulling it
gonna
up?
try and
Okay,
pull it up.
awesome. I was going to do that. Okay.
Well, you know what's crazy about that? Because I'm telling you, my whole life, I just wanted to be this famous singer-songwriter. I wanted all the fame, right? I didn't even care about the money part. I just wanted the fame. I was bullied badly when I was, early elementary school. And as I went along, it was the world that I was trying to find my worth in. And it was like, if
Mm.
I could just prove to them and then prove to everyone else that I am something, that I'm worth something, because that's apparently what I thought and what the enemy wanted me to believe, that I
Right.
needed that. So I kept seeking that. It was, from Nashville Star. My roommate was Miranda Lambert at the time. And it was, a situation where you could really have any opportunity in that moment. It was before all the reality shows of all the music things.
I
it was
think
in
my
the
cousin
beginning.
Tanya was on season 1 of Nashville Star, but I'd have to ask her.
Valentine?
No.
Oh, Tasha Valentine. Sorry. No,
Yeah,
it was-
no, Tanya. I'm not sure how far she made her way through it, and I was like, I'm not doing those. I hate contests. I was like, I hate contests. I just hated that part of it, and you probably can validate
It's
because you were a
awful.
part of it. It's terrible.
It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
And
it makes you feel like makes you
yes.
feel like crap.
And America is who voted me off, right? So it was all the votes, but it really wasn't, because it was everything's. Anyways, it's always political. There's always something.
It's never what you think
it's
it
never
is.
actually the truth.
Yeah.
But anyways, when I was voted off, I said embarrassing things. I was so weird, and I walked off the stage, and Winona Judd gave me a big hug.
Oh,
and
wow.
She gave me this book, and I still have it. I should have brought it, but it's beautiful, and it was. It's interesting because I didn't read it. It was 2003 when she gave it to me, and it was a book about God, and it was inspiration. It was a lot of scripture and things that I wouldn't have received well if I read. I probably would just been like, okay, all right, cool. I love Jesus, but I read it. I brought it to the NICU. I read that, and then later I found out in my mind, I was like doing the calculations, which is where the 40 days and 40 nights. On day 41, when we made it home, I sat there and I was like, we were there for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm 40 years old. So you think about that. Moses wandered in the wilderness for 40 years
Mm-hmm.
and had so many opportunities along the way, but was just wandering. And that was me. I was wandering because I was trying to find my worth in something that was the world saying, this is what you need to feel confident. And there were so many times at church, I'd be like, oh, I really would love to do the worship, like be on the worship team in other churches and different things. It never clicked. And I didn't know why. I'm like, why don't I want to? Like, why am I not trying to? I have a gift that I'm supposed to be using. It's because my heart wasn't there.
Right.
Because I wanted this self-serving way. I wanted self-praise. And when I went out on that stage, it was about me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about anybody else. I mean, yeah, I live to entertain people, right? But then the day that I surrendered, it was in the NICU, and he already had all the things, and he was having 30-minute seizures.
Oh
He
my
was on
gosh.
5 seizure medications. He was a noodle. He was just like a limp noodle. And there was a moment where I looked at his arm. I'm like, what's wrong with it? He had an infection, or it was like the site where the IV was in had become infected. And so I was like, what in the world? It was staph. And then they were thinking, oh my gosh, it might have gone to his
heart.
Any of his
Right.
organs. So then I had to leave the room so they could do a spinal, like whatever that is called. I can't think of it right now, but it's basically like a surgery, whatever, to do the testing.
Epidural.
It's kind
They
of
put
like
an
that.
epidural,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
like a
that.
spinal tap or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just
He's
went to the
out
bathroom.
cold, by the way.
Yeah, it's like I'm so jealous. It's not true.
That's awesome. That's awesome. First of
Aw.
all, that he could fall asleep in this scenario with people talking, because I really wish I could do that. Yeah.
I know. I
Right?
probably could right now, but
I bet you could.
But they told me I couldn't be in the room, so I left, and they said, it may be an hour or so. We'll let you know. So I just went into the bathroom, the only private bathroom on the NICU floor, and I locked the door, and I just started crying. Like it was like a demon, like just scream crying. And my arms were just like in the movies, like my arms were in the air, and I was like, what is going on, God? What? Like, why? I can't do this. I just give it all to you. I give it all to you. I don't want to do it anymore. You take over. I can't do this. Like, it was like that literally come to Jesus moment. I don't think I've ever cried so hard. And I cry all the time. Ask my husband, 817-819-5888. Burley Roofing, Chris Bodiford. But I mean, I was like,
I'm going to have this memorized by the time you leave.
So then I dried my face, right? And I stepped out. I went and dropped off the milk because I was pumping all the time, dropped it off at the milk bank. And I noticed, like, I'm walking through the halls and I'm looking around and I'm noticing like beauty in so many things, like the nurses and the pictures that little kids had painted. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm I feel a peace. Like I feel everything is going to be okay. Oh
that
my gosh,
peace
this
surpasses all understanding.
Yes.
And you don't know where it came from.
You have
and you
no
don't
idea
know how you got here, but you just know it's gone.
Yes. And I'm telling you, from there on, everything went amazing. He passed his swallow study, and he was going to go home with a G button. Like that, a quick rewind. That doctor had said, he had said he's not going to be able to eat. They're going to want to place a G button, I'm sure. But you don't have to say yes.
Oh, interesting.
You don't have to say
Kind
yes.
of
He whispered it. You don't have to say yes to
insinuating.
it.
Yeah, like he did like that thing with his hand. Like, but you don't have to say yes. This is going to be a really difficult situation, like for your family and your other kids. But I'm just letting you know, you don't have to say yes. I'm like, okay, so that's how he needs to eat. And are you
gonna starve your kid?
Starve your kid because he doesn't have a life that's worth, So, anyways, that was one little piece
because the doctor didn't think it was
because it was gonna. Yeah, he'd already built this prognosis, and he knew this is what was gonna happen.
Right.
So, anyways, he passed the swallow study, and they were like, I just want to let you know, he's probably not going to. I mean, and I was just standing there. I was back there watching. I'm like, video, because I document everything, right? I was videoing, and they're like, you can't video. I'm like, okay. So I put it down, right? I'm just standing there, but I was peaceful. I'm like, they're like, wow, he did so good. He totally passed. Okay, well, I guess we'll just work on the speech therapist coming in and seeing about getting him to try to breastfeed. Latched on immediately. Like he had been NG fed the whole time, and he just latched on. Oh yeah, I'm going to eat. By the way, it's still the situation. We're trying to wean. I'm that woman, right?
Right.
Like never thought, but it's like those things like that happened after I surrendered. All the things, like he finally got off his oxygen, that happened. Then they were like, wow, he's doing this. We can take him down to like 1 or 2 seizure meds. And then it was all
Man.
the things were
When
happening.
we finally get out of God's way, he's able
Yes.
to work, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And I have goosebumps even just like remembering those moments, because it was like I just knew. And so then he said, okay, well, pass the car seat test and then you guys can go home. And he passed it. That was the only time I started feeling nervous. He's like right at the end, right? Like you're almost there. So I had to pray it away a lot. Like, and then it happened and they said, you get to go home. And then we went home and it was amazing. And I mean, it's been like this, and it, trust me, has not been difficult. I mean, difficult. It's not been easy. It's been a very difficult ride between therapies and appointments and medical situations and ups and downs and here and there. But in the peaks, in the valleys, he's always there. Like Jesus is always there. And I can feel like when I'm starting to doubt and to question, I sit there in prayer and I'm like, I just need the Holy Spirit to take over. Like I need that peace. Right. And I'm like, I give it to you over and over. I surrender every day. And then it became every other day. And I'm like, okay, like you start to feel like this is what it feels like to have a relationship with Jesus. I've always believed. My parents raised me going to church. They are amazing. We've gone every single Sunday, and just been in a wonderful home. But I never, for some reason, had that relationship with Jesus until that moment in the women's bathroom in the NICU. And then it was like, wow, this is what happens.
So at what point set you on the path to write the story, to write the book and share your testimony in this way? Did you have like an aha moment there? Or did you just start? I mean, because clearly you've already been documenting with video. I would assume you were blogging. You were already blogging and writing in your diary. There's another word for that, but I can't think of it.
Journal.
Right. Thinking you were journaling. Thank you. So clearly you, at some point you got to a point where you looked at all of it and went, okay, I gotta tell it.
I really think it came down to when he started getting to the point where he's more mobile and doing more things, and he was making more strides and proving that doctor wrong. Like that was when I was like, you know what? This is exactly what the world needs. And whether it be a doctor or a mom or someone that knows someone, they need to hear this story because it is never hopeless. It is never hopeless.
Well, how can I not talk about what I have seen and what I have heard is what the word says. You know,
Yes,
we're supposed to testify. That's our job. And how can we not talk about what God did to our kid? I mean, that's, you know, you can't help it.
And not from the negative point of view, because that's typically where a lot of people will go, right? They typically
like, why me?
They go to the negative and not realizing that it takes just as much, if not less, energy to be positive and faithful than it does to be negative. And so just if you're listening on the app or on the radio, mygodisbigger.com is where you want to go to read more of the story. But where can they buy the book when it releases?
It will be on Amazon, only Amazon for right now. And that'll be Sunday. I'm not sure if it's like a situation where like at midnight on, but Sunday is the release date for the paperback. The ebook is available now. It's just doesn't have
I put the link for the Kindle, the Kindle link for Amazon. It's on there.
Oh, good.
On
Thank
the comments.
you. Oh, hey.
Hey, yeah, you can see yourself there.
I am.
And then we put in there the mygodisbigger.com. You can get to that, and then you can link to Amazon from there.
It will be on there.
You'll put it
they
on
haven't
there?
given me the link yet, but you can search on Amazon. Thanks to the support of my watershed people and Mr. Cooper and family and friends, because there's a system, right? There's a whole system to an algorithm. Yeah. That's the word I've been looking for the last 3 days. And so you have to play the game. You have to, and so they've really helped me. Our community is incredible. And so you can find the ebook. It's just the paperback is so much more emotionally captivating because of the pictures and
there's like some
extra
stuff
things
to write.
Yes, so you can journal as well. So there's some reflection questions at some of the ends of the chapter, and then places to journal. Like if the Lord, says something to you that you just don't want to forget, and you can jot that down, and just different scripture, things that really this is the real time. In the 40 days, those are the real journal entries that I typed every single day for 40 days.
I love this. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
In so many aspects of it, because finding yourself and in in faith is, it's almost better than being dunked in water. You know what I mean? I mean, I did that at 10, but to have the spiritual awakening, as we get older and then be ready to share it.
That's it's the greatest feeling, because it's not about me anymore. I know I said that earlier, but it's like the feeling of it's not about me. It's like I've always known it shouldn't be about me. We should always put others before ourselves and God first. But I never was doing that. So I didn't really know what it felt like. And when I surrendered, I truly surrendered, and my heart is there. And I am in that place where, like, I don't want to be this famous singer-songwriter. I'm like, okay, God, if you're telling me that I'm supposed to do this, but let's just make sure it's for your glory and
Amen.
not mine. And I didn't even realize it was possible for any artist, but you know what it feels like. It's like, and it will feed your flesh and feed your flesh. I don't like, get out, flesh. I want the Lord. I'm like, go from the world to the word.
Seconds. Man, God is so good.
I know that I know that I want to have you back, because I want to see what happens in the next 3 weeks after this book launch and where things go, and I want an update. And I think we have so much more to talk about. So thank you, KK, for joining us.
Thank
Thank you, Anthony with Lone Star Roofing.
Hey,
for joining
Anthony,
us.
817-819-5888. Chris Bodiford with Burley Roofing.
And let's let go and let God, right?
MyGodIsBigger.com. Get the book. Have an amazing day. God bless and be kind.
And Grandview to Godly. This is the voice of Johnson County. JoCo Community Radio.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines.